Welcome to my podcast, Actual Leigh. This is the continuation of last week's conversation. Let's dive right back in. Hey guys, do you like fart jokes? But it's hard.
Will
Like when the
Forte.
will, yeah,
Will
yeah,
Forte and Kristen Shaw. Okay.
yeah. He's funny. He's just that kind of awkward that that I mean Zach what's his face? He's got that too.
Yeah.
But he's been in some no wait, that's a different actor. They look the same.
Yeah.
He was in what was that? There's a TV show about the rodeo clown.
Oh, yeah, with Louis Anderson as the mom. What was that called? I didn't look it up.
Fuck, my brain saying shakes and I'm like that's not the right clown. But I didn't finish it, but I did watch the first season and I liked it and I just
Yeah.
I'll have to go back.
Baskets.
Baskets, yeah. It was yeah.
That was a really good one. It was the first few were hard to watch. You have to be braced for that kind of humor, basically,
Yeah.
what's going on.
That tends to be my like the stuff that I really enjoy, I think. Glutton for Punishment maybe, or
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's partially because there's this humor, but there's also this layer of just real humanness in there as well. And that's part of
Right.
what makes it kind of gut-wrenching. And it's yeah, that sort of darkness that I think that's part of my draw to it is that part of it.
That makes sense, yeah, because it is real. It's not just, let's laugh at these people. It's a canned laughing
Yeah,
soundtrack, and it's all completely fake, and you don't have to feel for anybody. I think
exactly.
that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. That's why it's hard to watch it, because he's having a bad day, and it's like, oh, geez, I've been there.
Yeah,
And so it is hard to laugh.
yeah. I don't like sitcoms as a rule. There's a few exceptions like Red Dwarf. Even
Right.
with the laugh track, which is really painful, Red Dwarf is just just fucking dry. I love it, right? And there's not Black Books and IT Crowd. Those I like those, but American sitcoms are problematic. That's like even as a kid, like like Full House and stuff. I would
Yeah.
just get up and leave the room because they were sort of pushing these ideals that don't exist, right? They're not, that's not how humans are, right? It's
Yeah.
like, and it's like, but people look to visual media to guide them on how to human. And whether or not they're aware that they're doing it, they do it, right? Visual media has an incredible amount of power to sway people. I mean, that's why, here in the US and in the UK, they intentionally started adding people of color into TV shows to help, and then eventually it was like adding like LGBT people and stuff because it helps normalize people who don't normally have the opportunity to be exposed to people different than themselves, and that's so it's there's just so much like noise that's not realistic and not enough conversation around the fact that that's not how relationships work. That's
Yeah.
You don't expect your parents to be like that. It's like, and so people grow up sort of discontent, not even based on their reality, but based on the fact that their reality isn't shaped like fantasy.
Right.
And so I have like as a kid, even I pulled these patterns apart and I was like, no, I don't like it. And I think like I just that the realism is what I tend to enjoy. Or sci-fi. I like sci-fi a lot.
Sci-fi is good.
Yeah. So, and then there's historical dramas that I like Outlander. Is that what it's called? It's like a romance with the time travel. I've talked about that one before and it makes me angry. I yell at the TV. It's a good crafting show. But there are too many plot holes around the time travel. They keep changing the rules and it makes me mad. So and then I get mad at the TV. So I'm like crafting and like I yeah.
I don't know that I've seen that one, actually. We had, Well, again, tiny town, we had town cable until, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago when they dropped it. It's just not worth it to pay for
Yeah.
most individual channels. We have a couple of the big ones just because there's such a large library you can watch. My wife loves watching it. But again, I have a Roku and I turn on Pluto TV and, you know,
Yeah. It's your background.
catch whatever. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's background noise, and I know it's background noise, but it's reassuring. So, and
Yeah.
like I say, occasionally on One Piece, I get to a nice arc, one of the ones I like, and then I'll sit there and watch it for a while.
Yeah, I watched that one of my I was dog sitting for my friend and she has all the things and so I ended up just putting all the shows that I don't have access to normally and then I got a butt ton of crafting done because I was there for like 2 weeks and just had these, I had like Call the Midwives and the Outlanders because there's a lot of seasons and I just had them on the whole time. But yeah, I stopped having cable TV in 1997.
Oh, okay.
I only had it for about a year because before that I was couch surfing and stuff for a couple of years. And so when after my son was born, we had gotten a really good deal on the cable TV. The guy that came out to set it up for us was like, "Oh, do you want the Adam and Eve channel?" Wah, wah, wah. And I was like, "The hell?" He was like, being all suggestive with us. I was like, "Oh." But and then I just watched a lot of Star Trek on, Teletubbies. But and then I just was like, I hate this. I hate like having to change the channel, that format, and that you don't have control. And so like when Netflix came out, like I used to torrent things that I wanted to watch.
Right,
Early days I used Usenet and then I switched to other stuff. So I could just get what I wanted. And for stuff like music, I would torrent it. And if I really liked it, I would save up and go buy it.
right.
But TV shows and stuff, I didn't care because they're going to get their money either way. And and then when Netflix came out with the DVDs, I was like, I can do this legit. Like I just get the DVDs and rip them and then watch them on my own time. I didn't share what I ripped. I ripped it so I could watch it on my schedule and send the disc back. So I got The Sopranos really quick. And then when they started streaming, it was like a no-brainer. But now all the streaming services are going to back to what the TV services were like.
Yeah,
Confusing and complicated and
yeah. And
expensive
we're paying
and
20 a month, and we're still getting commercials for
yeah,
which one? I think that's Hulu, and that was the best deal we had. And I saw
yeah.
the announcement that literally said they're raising rates to increase revenue. Absolutely no other reason. Just hey, we're not making enough money. Let's tack on $2.
Yeah, I'm like y'all getting bonuses, you're making enough money. Come on.
Yeah,
So yeah, I have access to Netflix right now. And I have Amazon Prime through Amazon Prime, but I don't because they made it so that even if you pay for no ads, you still get ads.
yeah,
So I stopped paying for the no ads and I just don't use it anymore. I'm like I don't do ads. I um I recently made the mistake of I was on my friend's YouTube family thing for YouTube Red, so you get no ads. And so I haven't had ads on YouTube since 2016 or so.
right.
And I just kind of gotten used to it. And then my friend who has all the channels was like, "Hey, do you want access to all the channels?" But that meant leaving his thing. And I didn't realize that YouTube TV does not include YouTube Red. So
Oh,
so I gave up the ad-free experience to have access to like Max and stuff like that. And when I looked, they didn't really have that much that I want to watch that I can't watch on Netflix if I wait 2 years.
yeah.
So I was like, now I have ads and it's awful. Like I, the universe is a bad place with ads. Like I just, but you can't switch, once you've switched, you can't switch for another year or something.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just holding out and they keep being like, "Oh, do you want to pay? You want to pay for this?" And it's like 20 something a month or something just to have no ads.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's everybody deserves to make money for the things that they do, but when it's like we just need to make more money. Everybody's got to make more, got to make more. And that doesn't trickle down. It's a
Yeah.
problem, you know? It's like, hey, we need a cap on the greed. I
I
wish that
forget.
was built into our society,
Yeah.
our values, but it's not.
I forget where I ran across the term, but somebody pointed out social media, everything drifts towards insidification is what they call it.
Yeah, well,
You know, like,
every all human things we make, that's, the internet just followed suit of all other corporations,
yeah.
basically.
I mean,
But like,
Google, I used to adore Google. I could find what I wanted, and there would be 5 pages of exact matches. And now the first one might have something to do with the exact quote I have in quotation marks and plus symbols. And everyone after that is absolutely nothing to do with it. And
yeah,
there's nothing to do because Google drove out everybody. It's a DuckDuckGo is kind of okay, and there's a Russian one, Yandex, that I can find stuff sometimes. But what do
yeah.
you do if you don't want to use Google?
Right. Yeah, I've been using DuckDuckGo for some stuff, just to kind of get a feel for it, and the search results are terrible.
Yeah,
It literally searches for stuff that's not what I was searching for. Google is doing the same thing, but at least it's usually kind of on the same topic. It's like, and also like on Google, I can just throw Reddit, and if I throw Reddit at the end, I'll get exactly what I'm looking for.
I'll have to start doing that.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's how like all this air quality shit. That's like how I learn about it because there's like the engineers who go into these threads and actually share their information. So that's what I'm always looking for is the nerd info so that I can better understand what I'm dealing with. And Reddit's pretty good for that. And if I read stuff and I'm like that doesn't vibe with my other information, then I can take that and try to get more information. But doing technical searching on DuckDuckGo is like not so good. And I'm kind of bummed out because I would really like to not give Google kind of anything anymore because they
Yeah,
used to be like, their whole thing was about not being evil. Don't be evil, right? And now they are. They're fucking
but they
Mr. Burns.
but they got over it.
Yeah, they outgrew being a good person. Corporations are people. Don't make fun of us. You hurt my feelings. Are you drinking coffee?
Coffee.
Yeah.
I make cold brew and just slurp it down during the day.
Heck yeah. I haven't made cold brew in a minute, but that's because I've been cutting back on my caffeine intake because I'm anticipating going back on my ADHD meds, and
Okay.
uh, coffee and Adderall make me go to sleep. So if I have too much coffee, like if I drink cold brew and I drink a lot of it, too much, I'll have to take a nap. It just knocks me out. So what I do is I just kind of sip a coffee all day, and when I have the Adderall, it's like I have to cut back even more. So that's a superpower of ADHD. That stimulants or sleepy meds. That was when I got the diagnosis. He's like, you could just have trauma and it's not ADHD, but they take the meds, it'll make you feel worse. I'm like going 140 miles per hour on my motorcycle in the corner while my knee is dragging on the pavement makes me feel better. I'm pretty sure it's not because of the trauma.
Right.
you know. Um, so yeah, I took it within a week of the Adderall. I was like sleeping so good. I was just like, oh, and he's like, yeah, you got the ADHD. And I'm like, I told you.
And my second son has it, and it's one of those where they never wanted to diagnose him and all this and that. And he finally researched and said, yes, I clicked every single box. And he started doing things to manage it, and
It
life was
helps.
so much better.
Yeah.
Just doing little things because once he knew what it was, it's okay. I need something to focus on, and he would give himself something to focus on, and
Yep.
much less anxious, much less troubled, much less everything. And he just, yeah, but nobody wanted to diagnose him. When he was young, we were sure he had it because I always told people my older son was like having a big, jumpy dog, and my younger one was like having a chimp.
Yeah.
He just very wild, very fearless, very run out there and do stuff, and you've got to try to catch him. And also, but we took him to a doctor, and they're like, we don't like to diagnose like that.
That's the wrong doctor. Because it's like the more you know about yourself, the more tools you can build to
Yeah,
exist happily, right? But yeah, when my brother was diagnosed with it, I was adopted on my dad's side, so I'm not blood related to my brother. And after he was diagnosed with it, my dad was like, me maybe I have this, right? And he had been a functional meth user for years and had just hit it. So he would
right,
wake up and go do the meth and then go to work and then come home and drink some beers and crash out after cleaning the house. Um and it was he was self-medicating, right? And
right,
after my brother got the diagnosis, and this would have been in like the late 80s, early 90s. So it's kind of when it was still, it wasn't even ADHD yet. It was just starting to be called ADD.
okay,
And so my dad went and got the diagnosis and tried the medication. That was it. He never went back to doing any, he didn't drink anymore. He didn't do because he had what he needed to help him like chill the fuck out, you know?
right,
And but like for me, it was like it was suggested here and there, but it's not something that my mom really took seriously. There's this idea that if you have ADHD, you're Dennis the Menace kind of thing, right? It's
yeah,
not like, and I was different. And I'm sure, the autism, which I don't have a diagnosis for, but it's literally like when I read about ADHD, I'm like, yeah, okay, that applies. When I read about autism, I'm like, holy shit, right? So, and I have, without the diagnosis, I have used things that I've learned about autism to help me in my life. And it's helped, like, I like myself a lot better now than I did 5 years
right,
ago. But that was basically like, well, even if you do have ADHD, it doesn't matter because you're a girl, right? But
yeah,
my life was chaos. I didn't do well in school. I used to cut school to go to the library because I was bored. I had terrible grades, except in the classes that were interesting. Like the patterns, all the things that are considered like, you know and then like I tested out of school early and I couldn't figure out how to navigate working and schooling at the same time because I was like 16 and it was like I had to work to pay for the junior college, and it was like I couldn't, these are things that ADHD people struggle with, right? It's like I couldn't figure out the order of operations to organize everything to make it work, and so I just worked and I just couldn't like do school. And looking back after I started the meds, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, because it's like my brain couldn't break things down the way I needed to
right.
create the pathways, right? It just was a mess and I couldn't, so I would just go around it. So it's some of that stuck with me, even though I'm not on the meds anymore, which is cool. I'm still on time to stuff. I had never been on a time to anything my entire life. Like, like always 10, 15 minutes late. I always tell people I will be late and I will text you to tell you I'm running late. So I'm late. It's annoying, but at least I'm not a flake about it.
Right.
Um, but I was on the meds. I started being on time without thinking about it. And I was like, it actually felt like I was in a parallel universe or something. It was really disorientating. It was like awesome, but scary because I was like, I've never been on time. What is this? What is this feeling of not being like super stressed out? And that stuck with me, and a couple other things. Like I'm better at starting and finishing projects now because it's harder to do without the meds. It can take me a week to break a project down in a way where it doesn't feel overwhelming. Whereas before I would just sit down and do it with the meds, I would just do it.
Right.
So the executive dysfunction is annoying, but there's tools there now. And I think that's really cool, because I feel like that stuff's going to stick with me forever. And my primary battle right now is just the chemical part of it, the dopamine deficiency and stuff. That's stuff you can't control without meds. So yeah, brain stuff. Now what are you looking at?
I was just realizing it's about time for one of my kids to call me, and I've got my phone off, but not my computer. And so I'm shutting the browser before they do that. We did a Zoom play reading, and 2 minutes from the end, somebody starts ringing me on Messenger. And like
That,
I say, I turned my phone off. I forgot to turn my computer off. So I'm just
yeah.
waiting. the browser so they can't get me now.
So they don't distract you. You have my
Well,
phone is
not
on.
distract me, but I don't think you need the.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah. I don't, all my stuff's on silent, so I forget that things make noise. Like your phone beeped earlier or your
Yeah,
computer or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, stuff makes noise. But when I do phone calls on my phone, it's set to do not disturb just because,
right.
and if I'm on the phone, phone calls still come through. So I'll be talking, like say I'll have a therapy session or something, and then there's a phone call coming through, and I'm like, but so, and there's a setting like I guess, and I went and looked at it, and I was like on the fence because if I turn it off all the way, then if my son needs to get a hold of me, he won't be able to. So I was
Right.
like, okay, I just wanted something that would make it so phone calls don't come through when I'm on the phone without me having to go in and set it every single time because I won't remember to turn it off.
Right.
Um, but yeah, because it's very distracting. My brain goes, oh, there's a call coming in, and then I can't. It takes me 10 minutes to come back to whatever the fuck I was talking about, like the garbage truck earlier. I've been thinking about putting out something with googly eyes for the garbage truck guy when he comes by. Because I live in an alley, like the front of the house is in an alley. Like I literally just had an argument
Okay.
with the police department about this the other day because I was like, this is my address. And she's like, that's not a real address. Your address has to be on one of the streets. And I'm like, but I get my mail to this address, I get my water to this address, I get my electricity to this address. Matter of fact,
Right.
the only thing that doesn't go to this address is my internet, but that's Comcast and they're silly. So and she was just like, well, eh, you know, and I was like, and she's like, so the music, because I was complaining about the music, she's like, the music's coming from behind you. And I went, no, our house, the front of the house is in the alley. Like, so we're facing the music, but we're the only one. There's nobody, there's no, all the other houses, it's the back of the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're unique. So when the garbage guy comes down to get all the trash stuff, it's like right outside the front porch and stuff. So I was thinking about putting out something, maybe do like random different things every week or something just to entertain him. Because he's like head level right to the porch.
Yeah.
So I'll have to think about that. Like, what can I put out that it's not too expensive?
Various stuffed animals.
Yeah, something like that. And get donations, put out some fun things. I have some really big googly eyes somewhere, so that's why I was like,
Okay.
yeah. I have, the little finger hands, like the hands that they're
Yeah.
like, yeah. I was thinking about making some eyes and mouths for them that are like different expressions so that, like on TikTok where you can make videos to other people's sounds. So
Right.
instead of I'll still do the puppets, but I could also do the hands, right? And do like just I don't know why I just got this idea and I was like, I want to see if I can do that, because it seems like it would be fun. Plus, I don't have to do the puppet
Right.
part because that could be a lot of work. My arms get tired.
That sounds kind of cool. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. I'll have to I was trying to decide if I wanted to use stickers, like make stickers with my cry cut or find some other way to make facial expressions. So I've been kind of I percolate things for a while before I act on them. But I think it would be fun and be like like if I'm having a really tired day but I don't want to make content, I could do that from my chair. I don't have to, I don't have to set up. When I do the puppets, I got to set up a backdrop. I have to sit on a thing. I wear like a black thing so you can't see my arm, and it's a whole setup thing. And then so
Right.
yeah, but cool. How long? When did we start recording? 1 o'clock?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, because you're on time. Yeah, you didn't make me wait or anything. So responsible.
I've been sitting here well, I was waiting for like an hour first because I don't want to go out and do something and then lose track of time and then come back
Yeah.
late. So,
That's good. I wish my housemate would learn that because he loses track of time and then doesn't realize. And I'm the opposite, where if I have something, I can't do anything else. I'm like
Right.
paralyzed. Even if it's at 4 p.m., I'm like paralyzed until that thing is done. So, you have the good balance of like, you can be realistic and be like, okay, well, I only have an hour left, so I probably shouldn't start anything.
Yeah. I burned myself that way in the past. It's like, we've got plenty of time. We'll just go over here quick. And my kids are, Dad, no, we've got to be there in 15 minutes. This will take 5 minutes tops. And no, it never does. So I've had to learn that lesson.
Are you sure you're not ADHD too?
No, I'm not. Actually, when I start looking at the symptoms, it's like, but I don't
Yeah.
think it makes, I don't know
You,
that I would change anything if it turns out I was.
you don't, yeah, there's nothing you need to change. It would just
Yeah.
be information. It is genetic, so, but
Yeah.
that's a very common like ADHD behavior thing of the sort of time, the poor relationship with time thing. But I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you about your shirt before I forget. Yes. So is that actually
That's
like
2025.
so is that like how like a thing in your area or
No, it's actually a joke shirt I made last year. I had my Spoon Fest 2024 because I liked the concept of the Spoon Fest.
yeah.
And then this year I had 2025 shirts made up. My kids all wanted them, so I made them for everybody. And I've taught at like 5 different locations now, so I've just decided any place I teach as part of the Spoon Fest 2025 tour. Last Saturday I taught in an art crawl in Mankato, Minnesota. Had my table set up. I've got stickers for people, and I teach you how to make spoons and how to play music. And there were puppeteers set up next to me, and so I taught one of them to play the spoons, and I got my guitar, and so I played spoons with a woman with a bobber for a head.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so spoons are this source of obsession with neurodivergent people, both ADHD and autistic people, and it is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's also like some people really like big spoons, some people really like tiny spoons. Like I have specific spoons for certain things, and I get really agitated if I don't have the right spoon because it's like a mouthfeel thing, right? And so
Okay.
there's on TikTok and stuff, there's a ton of conversations around like what is your favorite spoon and stuff. So like the spoon fest thing of spoons making music, but then it also like there's also the lifestyle aspect of it. Like my brain was just like it could be a thing and it would be kind of funny, but there are people that would probably go.
Oh, one of them's not showing.
Yeah, when
Oh,
it's right
neither
in
one.
front of you,
There we
when
go.
it's right in front of you, it shows. Yeah.
There we go.
Ah, nice. Oh, they're like they have the thing at the bottom.
Yeah, taped together with the clothespin because then I can teach people how to do it. If I don't do it this way, it takes so long to learn how to hold them. But I just put a clothespin and some tape, and
That's smart. I've never tried that. It's kind of like the chopsticks
yeah,
trick too.
yeah.
All right, you gotta play some, make some noise.
Let me see if I can think of a good. Well, I'll tell you that people are. You can't make music. And I say, do you know "We Will Rock You" by Queen?
You're it
It's just
it's
the down, down, up for the. Buddy, you're a young national and saying the street's gonna be a big man someday.
Yeah, it actually, when you were playing and you weren't talking, it filtered the noise out.
What does it?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
crazy. I didn't even.
all right.
You have to send me a recording. I'll plug it in.
I've got lots of videos of it. I
Y'all,
mean, Dust by Fleetwood Mac is a.
that's such a good song. Yeah. I don't know why anyone would say you can't make music with something that's basically a percussion instrument
Yeah,
because drums are a musical instrument. That's silly sauce.
I tell them that I've played with so many amazing musicians and they're masters who have spent 20 years learning to play their instrument. And I've got a pair of spoons, and since I'm just doing click on the beat, I can play with them, and I love that.
Right. I mean, it's
It's
not,
just such a
it's like
simple,
people the tambourines and
yeah.
triangles and stuff. It's all kind of it's complementary. It just adds to the, you know.
Well, it is a. I like to tell people it's a folk instrument. I mean, I play dulcimer, so the little psalteries, where you put the music under the strings and things like that. And I ran across something one time about most people think music is something that takes years to learn, like a violin or a piano. It takes so much practice to be good. But music ought to be something that comes naturally, like cooking or fishing or kissing. You ought to be able to sit down with friends and just make music together. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is the epitome of it. If you want to strum a guitar, I'll play spoons. If you want to play a ham bone, and slap your leg, we can do that too. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be something where you have to be an expert
Right. And
to
that's
make
the,
music.
yeah, or people that perfectionist mindset versus just relax and have a good time. I always like think in that conversation, I always think of like the Violent Femmes, right? Because
Right,
they're really good musicians. Like, and it's not always obvious unless you're kind of listening for it, you have an ear for it. But at the same time, like when they're jamming and the way the guy sings, and there's sort of this relaxed chaos where they're just, you can tell they're just having a really good time. And if
right.
you're hanging out with friends and you decide to sing Violent Femmes, everybody sounds like shit because because the singer does not sing well. I mean, it is Violent Femmes. And
That's
so,
true.
yeah, so it's just fun. You're just making the music together and it's not about anything except for that, just sharing that fun, you know? So, yeah. I don't know why it's like I always go to that, but it's like there was just this night when I was a teenager where we were standing in the middle of the street at like 2 in the morning singing a Violent Femmes song and it was terrible, but it was so much fun, you know, and
Which
it
song?
just um Kiss Off.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the name of the song, but they say that I think that's the name of the song. But yeah.
One I want to make a movie based on is, what was it? Is the country love song?
Ah, a clown video to that where I
Oh,
clowned
really?
up and then and it didn't get a lot of views. I don't think people are familiar with the music, but it was so creepy because I just got like happier the further into the song I got, you know. I love that song. I love like singing really badly to it in the car. Yeah. So tell me, what would you like? You want to make a movie based on it?
I think that would be very interesting to do it and just figure out the psychology and how to make it sufficiently, how to do it properly. I've been in one called Loon Lake that was based on a local legend around here, and then you look around and there's all these other ones supposedly 15 miles away. A little girl died of a fever and was buried, and the mother went crazy imagining they could hear her, and they went out and opened the coffin later, and she had been buried alive. And that's supposedly 15 miles from here. It's like, there's a movie for you. But
Right.
again, that's a matter of whether it's true, whether it's legend, if it's hearsay. The property isn't there, the um, grave isn't there anymore, and it's just this happened in a long ago, and that's a nice little creepy story. I'd love to do it if I could.
Yeah.
Just get
And
into
there
that psychology.
Right. And there is something about like, because I've thought about that song and the lyrics before, like just kind of chewing on them because I mean, it's a story of basically a family that's starving
Yeah,
and the father is trying to figure out a way to take care of the family and he comes up with this really dark answer. And and presumably based on the lyrics, he's telling this story after the fact, right?
yeah,
And so, just that whole like there's so much like potential for to do it with these different vibes, but the way that I would kind of imagine it would be like where there's not a lot of talking, it's very like quiet and you just kind of get the sense of the pressure of the situation and the build up to it, right?
right.
And yeah, because it's a story that's probably happened like to quite a few families and stuff, and yet it still smacks of Stephen King.
Yeah. But wasn't it based on he found an old obituary from the 1800s? Is
I
what he
don't
based
know.
it on? I thought that was it, that he read it in
It
the
could be.
newspaper and wrote the song.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I never look up things, so I don't like I tend to just enjoy what people create without adding too much detail to it. So that would be cool if that's the case, that if he'd based it on something like that.
I do. I like the psychological horror. I don't care for gore, jump scares, or any of that. But
A good story.
a good one where at the end you're just like, oh no, that's not right. That's what I love to do. And the first movie I did the adaptation of a creepypasta called Pale Luna, and that's how it turns out at the end. You just have that, oh,
Yeah.
and then everybody wanted to know what happened next, and so I wrote the next story, and that takes a twist at the end too. That was Pale Dawn. I love that one.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
really
I'll
good
check it out.
continuation, and again, it ends, and it's not a happy ending. It's not a satisfying ending. It's an ending that you didn't see coming, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
And I love
I
doing that.
yeah, the reliance on suspense, like forced suspense versus story-driven suspense, like World War Z, the movie, used it a lot where they had like this build up with the music and these really drawn out scenes where you absolutely know what's going to happen. You just don't know
Yeah,
when it's going to happen. So you're sitting there sort of anticipating it. And I don't like it. It's boring and it's stressful. Even though I know what's going to happen, it's that physical sensation of stress. And I feel it's lazy. It's not, for me, it's lazy. Some people enjoy it, but I don't. I very much prefer like that's why I like a lot of Stephen King books and stuff is because there's such a most of his stories it's very psychological. You're like, is it or isn't it? And you're
right,
just kind of left like, especially his short stories. A lot of them are you're just kind of left like, little unsettled.
right.
Um, I'm reading a collection of his short stories right now, and one of them was I didn't know like because I never look into things, I just read them, consume them. The is a like a follow-up story to Cujo. It's about because Cujo is like the woman and her kid, and there's the dog, and they're
All right.
trapped. And so this is about her husband much later. He's like in his 60s or 70s. And so I thought that was really cool. And then one of the stories, like he describes something, and it like I spent like 2 days just being like, oh, you know, like I don't feel bad.
So now I
But
have to find that.
yeah. So it's this more recent collection called You Like It Darker.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been fun so far. Some of them there's no supernatural component whatsoever. It's just dark and you're just like, okay, that's kind of messed up, yo. And
It's been a
yeah.
while since I've read Stephen King, it turns out. I will have to go look him up again.
Yeah, his newer stuff is interesting because especially if you read his older stuff because he has matured as a person a lot. Like he went through this phase when he hit middle age where he started seeing women as people. And
Right.
so his writing shifted away from what he used to do, which was where he had these like multiple page objectification scenes and stuff like that. And he stopped kind of having that in there. And then he started having like main characters being female, and he actually would talk to women in real life to get information to make sure he was talking about things correctly. And he's talked pretty openly about this shift. I should follow him on Twitter, but it's like one of the few celebrities that I follow. But so his books have matured in that way, and that's really nice because he's still like I love having access to the dark shit in his brain, right? It's cool,
Right.
but he doesn't have the the other stuff that I as a kid, I started reading him when I was 7, and so there was stuff in there as a 7-year-old. I was like, why is this important? you know like in there's like a description of this lady in the bathtub for like a page and a half, like why? I'm all for the 2 pages of like starting your farts on fire description, but we don't need the bathtub description.
Right.
But that the fart section, they're like at the dump or something and they're like lighting their farts on fire. Would reread that over and over and just sit in my room and laugh, like just um yeah, so it's cool to see like how his stuff has changed. There's a series about a detective called Bill Hodges. It starts with Mr. Mercedes, um and it's really good. It's like 3 books, and then there's another book about a character that he connects with that he ends up writing about her, and all those books are just I really enjoyed them. um And if you ever feel like watching TV, that's Stephen King stories. The Mr. Mercedes series was done incredibly well. It's not even cheesy. It's actually, I think, really well told, you know. So yeah. Yeah, I could talk about that a lot. I like to read. I'm like I try to behave because I can like go. I have a friend who that's like part of why she likes to hang out with me is because she likes to hang out and listen and I'll
Yeah.
talk for like 4 hours and I'll be like, I'm so sorry. That had to have been really annoying. She's like, no, I'm so relaxed. This is great. And I'm like, okay, you're different. You know? Usually when you're talkative, you grow up, everybody's like, shh, shh, shh. Put duct tape on your mouth. I'm just gonna sit here and see how long I'll be quiet. I'm challenging
Awkward
you.
pause.
Yeah, it's not awkward. It's fine. It's fine. Start scratching. I should probably let you go though, so I can. I don't know. I still feel like I'm in the sleepy stage. Like I'm kind of like a little bit like in that sleepy stage high because I went right into talking to a person when normally I just sit here kind of on my own for a couple hours. So
Right.
that's kind of fun. Like Like that sounded really dry, but I actually meant that it's kind of fun. I'm gonna spend the rest of the day being like, that was cool.
Well, thank you for asking me to be a part of this. This was
Yeah, I'm really glad it worked out. I know when I first asked you, you're like, I don't think I'm interesting enough. And I was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? You're like posting all these projects you're working on and you know, I mean, I would argue that you could do like web comics just based on all the like errands that you run for your family. That in and of itself is, a lot of stuff plus like doing battle with branches and but then you add in all the other projects and that's a lot of stuff. I enjoy seeing your updates because it's nice to know that there's somebody else out there that's like just sort of randomly creative, right? You kind of always just have this creative thread
right.
in your life. And for me, the creativity of this type is new to me. And so it's nice to see that in other people because it kind of, when I start to try to talk myself out of it and be like, you shouldn't do this, it's not responsible, you're not good at it, or whatever, I go, yeah, but there's these other people that are staying creative and I like seeing that. So why wouldn't I do that too? Right? Kind of.
Well, that's one of the things where it's not, oh, it's a blessing. I'm disabled. It's actually is because I absolutely hated working for a living. And the fact that now I legally can't work well and physically, but that gives me the chance to write movies and do this and that and, work on books about screenplaying and learn new card tricks. I just learned another new card trick today that I managed to fool my daughter on, and she can't be fooled because she's seen every trick I have. She knows the mechanics. I did
Yeah.
this one, and she's no, that doesn't work that way, and it's I can do it again.
Yep.
I love that, but if I had to work for a living, otherwise I'd be out working right now and be on my way home in a half hour or so and be grumbly about having
Yeah,
to put in
and
the day. So it's so freeing to be able to do it.
yeah, it's definitely the my like when I first started having health issues and I had to stop working, there were about 4 years where I was just too sick. I couldn't even watch TV. I couldn't sit in a car. It was like too much. It just destroyed me. And so there was, not a lot, but I still ended up doing things like I painted a bunch of rooms in the house and raised rabbits for meat and did stuff. I did it with some help, but it was like my brain is not good at not. I have to. I mean, you see my updates on Facebook. It's like I can't leave shit alone.
Yeah.
Um, but but after I started to feel a little better, um, and then I got the ADHD stuff. My brain, it was like all of a sudden there was like this, yeah, even before the ADHD thing, it was like I had sat still for long enough that I started to feel more because, it's like when you're working and you're in pain like those things consume you and there's no time for anything else because you have to take care of the rest of your life. Like I was a single parent and dealing with all of that at the same time as dealing with my body shit and working and stuff. And so once I was able to sit still long enough, it's like I started feeling and then it just kind of like the creative stuff started to come out and it got really unlocked with the ADHD stuff because the ADHD, the medication made my brain be like, why can't you do that? Whereas I always used to be like, you can't do that, right? It just shifted that switch a little bit where I just believe, now I always the confidence of doing things I had in the workplace. I actually got in trouble. I had a boss that was intimidated by me and she said I was overconfident because I would take jobs that I didn't know how to do. And I'm like, yeah, but I can just learn it. It's not, I'm not saying I
Yeah.
know it. I'm saying I can learn it. That's not overconfident. That's I can learn it. And
Yeah.
she would get mad at me for that. You're keeping and I'm like, oh, I'm doing your job for you. Be quiet. Literally was doing her job for her. Like I would sit in meetings I wasn't supposed to be in because I was a contractor, and she would mute the meeting so I could translate the nerd speak because she didn't understand it. So
So was she threat by you, do you suppose?
yeah, I think so. I was trying to help her. I was so excited to have working with a woman in a technical field. I was the only woman all the time. So I was trying to, and she wasn't a technical person, but the company restructured and they always worked really hard to make sure that when they move stuff, if people couldn't move with it, like they were moving that data center to Houston, she didn't want to move. So they try to make sure their employees still have jobs.
Okay.
So that job, the manager I had, he got promoted, so there was an opening, and originally they were going to move me into that position, but because of this other thing, they prioritized the existing employee. And I was a little bummed out about that, but like I love working there, so it wasn't a problem
Right.
really. And then it was like I get to work with another woman, and she wasn't technical, and I was like, I'm happy to help. I mean, it's just my nature, and that she took all of the help. I did most of her job for her, and then she became very like toxic at the same time. She accused me of being like racist because one of my coworkers was a drunk and he'd come to work drunk, go sleep it off in the corner, but then bill for hours and we were doing his work.
Right.
Um, and then at the same time, and then she would accuse me of sleeping with him. So I was racist, but I was sleeping with him. And and I'm like, I'm not, I'm not racist. Like all of the things that I have biases on are based on like actual details, and even then, I still deal with people as individuals and don't assume that those biases are necessarily going to apply to them. Like it's like it had nothing to do with him being Mexican that I was reporting him for being drunk at work. If he
Yeah.
was white, I probably would have reported him sooner, actually, just because like you know, he didn't know how to do his job, and so I offered to teach him. Like I started the job, I didn't know how to do it. I knew computers, I could build networks, so I go into the data center and I learned it. It's an easy job, but he didn't know, so I was like, let's go get some books. I can teach you how to do this stuff. And he never like learned, and then he wasn't doing it. And so I said, you know what? He's not. I'm not saying you should fire him, but he needs training
Yeah.
and he needs accountability for the fact that he's not doing he's getting paid the same as we are, but he's not doing the work, right?
Yeah.
um and she just, oh, you're racist. And then I had to wear wrist braces because I had like RSI. And
Yeah.
so the servers were 35 to 70 pounds, and I could carry the 35-pound ones, but if I had to do a lot of them, so when we do a deconstruct, that's not the right word, or an install, there can be hundreds of servers. And
Right.
so what I ended up doing was organizing what we did based on people's strengths. So I would handle getting the racks set up because I have tiny fingers, so I can get in there, whereas the guys had a hard time getting in to do the screws and stuff. I also did a lot of the cabling, which is actually the most time consuming part. I would put the rails on the side of the servers, so all they had to do was pick them up and slide them in. So it was like, so
Right.
we were fast. We were the A team because of the system that we had set up. And the previous manager was like, like, you guys are badass. You get so much done super fast. And it's because we had found a system,
Yeah.
even with the drunk guy in the corner. And And then when she came on, she starts attacking me for not pulling my weight. Even though if you looked at the tickets, I consistently got twice as many tickets done as anybody else because I was able to look at the ticket system and we had like servers on 3 different floors. So I would organize based on location and
Right.
then and I would just get them done really fast. And it was like I absolutely pulled my weight, but she like it was like every single thing. So it was I don't remember why I started talking about that. Why did we get on that topic? I'm like, if I'm gonna bitch about an old job, I want to remember why I got there.
No, I
Oh,
can't
oh, oh,
remember either.
yeah. So I did
Oh,
the,
working.
yeah, I loved that job though, but I had energy at the end of the day to go do the other things until I started working with a really toxic boss, and then it like destroyed my everything. Um, but yeah, af after that, after I was like really properly disabled and then kind of waking up, there was just this creative like world. And I am thankful for that. I miss working. I miss having the freedom to work and to be able to earn more money so that I have more safety. Like if it was not for my ex, my housemate who I live with, I would be homeless. Like I cannot afford to rent a room here.
Right.
Like, you know, and I can't afford to move somewhere else because there are no doctors there, right? Like my GI, he has access to tools that there's only 3 other medical places that do those tests. I think like Mayo is one of them. I'm not sure which location, not all locations have them, but there are people
Yeah.
sent from all over the country to to that department to get the tests that I can just go get, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that part of being disabled sucks. There's, the social stigma stuff. I'm not very good at taking on the weight of that. Like, some people are like, "Oh, I feel so ashamed" or whatever. And I don't because it's not something that I have control over. And I feel like I'm still productive,
Yeah.
right? By creating, I'm being productive. I'm entertaining people. There are people who legitimately say my podcast helps their anxiety, gives them something to focus on, and if that's only one person, that's enough, you
Yeah.
know. So, and I do that is like, but being able to be creative on the semi-regular is really nice. I don't have quite the energy level that you seem to have for doing stuff. I would love to, but and maybe I will get there again someday. But like when I was clowning, I only did my makeup like once every 4 to 6 weeks
Okay.
because I have to rest a few days before, and then I'm usually wiped out for a week after. And then I still have to edit the videos and I still have to post them and I still have to do all
Right.
this other stuff. So it's like, you know, and I have other things I want to do. Like I do a lot. So so it's all everything is
Well,
it's
my energy isn't all that. I mean, I did the spoon thing on Saturday, the movie on Sunday, yesterday, and today I am completely exhausted.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just, my legs are cramped and aching, and I'm spending a lot of time sitting down. And I find something to do online then, but I have, well, again, this goes back to, I don't know if I have ADHD. I know I have to have something to focus on.
Yeah.
If I don't, I'm lost. If I can find something to do, I distract myself and I keep at it, and life is good. But if I don't have something to throw myself at,
Yeah.
I've got to have that little thing.
And
What
do
did
you
my son
find
put it?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my son put it something like, I got to have a bone to gnaw on. I've got
Yeah.
something to just think about, and then everything's okay as long as I can keep my brain on.
Now, when you pick your bone, does it have to be does sorry.
Oh, we're going to go there again?
Yeah, that came out. That did, all right. That did not. It sounded different in my brain. Um, can it be like say something from your to-do list, or does it have to be something that is appeals?
Um, the stuff on my to-do list, I do, but grudgingly. Like, I said, I mow the lawns, and sometimes I lose the fight for the tree. I try to get my kids to do this, that, or the other, but if they don't, then I feel like it has to be done. My parents always tried to install that, you have to do this, you've got to step up, and it didn't take until I started having kids of my own, and I realized, yes, things do have to be done, whether you want
Right.
to do them or not. It's going to have to be taken care of, And
Hmm.
at home, I do dishes by hand because dishwashers don't really work for us, and I don't do an awful lot around the house, and it's dishes have to be done. I don't want to be the one doing the dishes, but it's something
Yeah.
that you have to take care of. I don't want to be out there mowing everybody's lawn, but every time the kid said, well, then teach us to use the rider. No, my job. You use a push mower. So I do the things on the to-do list, usually grudgingly, but I get them out of the way. But I have, I write plays. Right now I'm working on converting an old play into a movie script. I think it'll make an amazing movie. And so I'm working on that. I've got other projects I'm working on. I've got some new things to put into my spoon playing book because at the art call, I showed a drummer how to play him, and he didn't do it the way I did. He took a different spoon in each hand and played his legs like he was playing two drums and got a completely different beat. So now I've got to rewrite my book to put that in there because that was just so incredible, and I've never thought about doing it that way. And he just, what if you do this? And I'm like, that's cool. So now I get to rewrite my book, or I'll read somebody else's script, or it's just
Yeah.
finding something. Or I
Yeah.
tab songs in Ultimate Guitar. It turns out I've tabbed almost 4,500 songs in Ultimate Guitar.
Is that a video game?
No,
I see.
it's online. If there's a song you like and you want to play on guitar, it's probably on Ultimate Guitar. If it's not, you can put in a request and I can do it for you. I can sit down, figure out the chords. I've got a couple programs, but then you also have to play along to figure it out. And just lately, one of the songs I did is by Nikki. It's Nicole somebody, but it's a cover of "You'll Be in My Heart" by Phil Collins. It blew up on TikTok. It turns out I've had almost 1 million views of that one tab, and I'm the only one on the internet who ever did it. And
Hmm,
so, if you want to play it, you go to Ultimate Guitar. There's my tab, and here's the chords for it.
that's cool. All
And
these
so,
people wanting to learn how to play it.
yeah, for
I
some sort of TikTok challenge, I think.
That's like, yeah, I mean, to me, that's even cooler than like when a song goes viral because it's something that people are doing,
Yeah,
right?
I
I
think
think
as
that's
of this
neat.
morning it was at 940,000 views, which is just so bizarre to me. Otherwise, I've got songs. Oh, look here, this song has 4,000 views in just 1 year.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I have like an approach to getting to stuff. It's just I have like you got to do the things you have to do, and then
Yeah,
you can play as much as you want, right? And I was kind of trying to teach. I didn't grow up with like structure like that. My
right.
mom didn't really pay super close attention if I did my homework or not. She only cared if I got the chores done. That was kind of it. So when when I became an adult type person and I had a kid about the same time, I I tried to instill this in him, this kind of like just get the stuff done you got to do,
Yeah,
and then you can do whatever you want. Like, and so he used to do his homework at school during class because he was bored. Teachers hated it, but I told the teachers to let him do it because his grades are good. Like he was one of the best performers in
yeah,
class. So what's your problem? And and then he'd come home and he could do whatever he wanted because he had already done you know, done the shit that he
right.
needed to do. So I, even a decade after not working a normal hour job, the first, like, until about 6 p.m., I feel like I need to be doing responsible things. And
Right.
this is something that my therapist, she was like, just play a video game during the day. And I'm like, I need to do these things. Like,
Yeah,
and I like stuff like doing the podcast I can do during the day, and it's gotten easier. In the beginning, I was having a really hard time with that, but I still haven't gotten to the point that I can play video games during the day or watch TV during the day because I have created this structure that helps me navigate the chaos of the ADHD, right? So
right.
do this and then do that. And I'm still working on it because playing video games when I stream, that's technically working, right? Because I'm streaming, even though I just do it to hang out with friends. So I could do it during the day and it would be responsible because I'm creating content every time I stream because I make gaming clips from it. So,
Okay.
but my brain hasn't, I'm like, but it's fun. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm working on it. But yeah, the things I'm very drawn to, the things that are entertaining. And like last night, this is probably not entertaining to anybody else but me, but I got a rabbit hole into reading about EVTs, and I had never heard of them before. I'm in California. Like, there's just
Okay.
not, um, and learning about the different kinds and the type that help keep like they replace the heat. So when they pull, like, because the EVT systems are the HVT systems, there's a couple different kind. Usually you hook them up to your HVAC system. So you have
Okay.
like ducts. And the way that it works is it's connected to it goes outside. And so it pulls air from the house. So if you have high CO2, it triggers when you have high CO2 or high humidity or whatever, and kicks the air outside, and then it pulls fresh air in, and then it sort of treats that air, gets it like close to the same temperature, same humidity as inside or whatever, or lower humidity, and then it pushes it back in. And if it's in your duct, like if you have an HVAC system that can pull fresh air, then
Right.
you can either use that to do that, but there's not everybody has that system, or the system won't be very good. So you have this thing you can add. What I was looking for was, is there a way to utilize this if you don't have a duct system, right?
Right.
Because air quality issues are not uncommon. Americans are not super aware of them. But one of the things I learned while I was reading is because, like, in this house is very my house was born in 1860. Um, it doesn't have the traditional walls with, like, the air in between the walls, right? It's literally like a board with like plaster or rock plaster or
Oh,
whatever on it.
yeah.
So and then it's painted and sealed at the floor. So this is just a sealed box, and they went and replaced the old original windows on one side of the building with dual pane windows. There's no airflow. I'm pretty sure I can do the smoke thing. So the CO2 within 10 minutes of me being in my bedroom is in the dangerous zone, and it just gets worse, right? So I've been trying to figure out a way that I can manage that without opening my windows. For So during the day, not a problem. At nighttime, it gets really humid here and it smells like
Right.
waterfront. So I don't really want to open my windows for that. Um, and then come winter time, also don't want to open my windows for that. So I was like, well, what are the options? In the UK, they have implemented a rule when you replace your windows with new fancy windows, you have to put in this thing called a trickle vent.
I saw
And
that.
yeah, and it's just like this little thing. There's different styles. Some of them are more visually obvious than others, and it just allows just enough airflow in and out so you get like an air exchange without like a huge loss of heat or a huge addition of humidity. The biggest da drawback is that it negates some of the noise blocking benefit of the dual pane windows.
Okay.
Um, so, and they did that because they were finding, especially with all these old buildings, that people were having like health issues because of air quality that happens from not having adequate airflow. Um, and a lot of these old houses, like this house doesn't have like when you're cooking, there's no vent. There's a filter, but that's just going to push the CO2 around. It's not going to go anywhere. So you have to make sure to open the
Yeah.
windows when you're cooking and stuff like that. But so I ended up reading about window installs of these, and I found one product that's available in the US that you can put in the window that does the air exchange, and it kind of looks like an air conditioner, and you can just plug it in and it's made for that. Everything else that I found requires setting up like a thing in the window with tubes, like with ducts going
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And then I found one that the way you use it is you drill a hole in the wall, kind of like a dryer duct hole.
Okay.
But you usually do it up higher in the wall, kind of in the room that you have the issue. It's the same sort of mechanism where it pulls the air in, pushes it out, brings fresh air in, but it's just a single thing intended to go through the wall. And I was like, why can't I build a box to put in my window? And then I don't have to have all the ducts. I just plug that shit in.
All right.
And so that's kind of where I'm at. That's like, I haven't found a single person that's utilized that device for that purpose. There's a bigger version that looks like a roll around air conditioner by the same company, Pioneer, that people have used with the duct setup. And I don't want that. This is not a huge house. I don't think it's going to take a lot to sort of deal with the CO2 issue. So that's what I did last night. And that is incredibly relaxing. Like, I will lose hours researching these things that nobody
Right.
else is like, they're like, what? You know? But that's why I know so much about all the different things I'm dealing with and why I get so frustrated, like dealing with the landlord. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
explain to her the issues in the building. And because she doesn't know and she has no reason to care, she's just like, well, that's not important. And I'm like, but if you were to talk to a professional in air quality, they would explain to you why it's important. But you know yeah, so
Yeah.
I do stuff like that a lot, and then I don't do like I was supposed to be working on the spreadsheet for the mold lawsuit thing, and
Right.
I still haven't started that because there's always something else more interesting to do.
Yeah. I know that feeling too.
Yeah, but what'll happen is the attorney will be like, okay, we have a deadline now, and then I'll get it done, because deadlines are the best driving force for getting the really annoying shit done.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not super worried about it. I just kind of beat myself up a little bit. Oh, you could have done that already.
What's
Oh
that
well.
saying? I've just done a task that took 10 minutes that I've been putting off for 6 months. I will have learned nothing from this experience.
Yeah. The amount of energy and space that those tasks take up during that 6 months as well it's so silly. It's like,
Yeah.
just do it. Just do it. Uh, Cool. Well, I'm going to wrap this up, and
All right.
thank you again for agreeing to come on. And I knew we would have fun, and I had fun. I'm not speaking for you. Maybe you didn't, but I had
This
fun. So
this is
thank you.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. So awesome. I'm glad. Um, and um, I will share the links. You guys should check out the links. And um, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out and listening. A huge thank you to my patrons. I could not do this without you. Want to support my creative chaos and get access to exclusive content? Check out my Patreon. Have questions and/or interested in joining me for a conversation? Email me.